Hello, and welcome back to the Truth Lab. In this installment of How Atheism Hijacked Science, we turn to the scientific process, its power, its limits, and the uncomfortable truth it reveals. Science only thrives when every possibility is allowed on the table, even the ones that point beyond nature itself. For centuries, science advanced because great thinkers had the courage to follow the evidence wherever it led, not just to the expected, not just to the comfortable, but to the true. Today, however, wherever it leads has quietly been replaced with anywhere except the supernatural. And this shift is not imagined, exaggerated, or conspiratorial. It is openly admitted by scientists themselves, many of them decorated, influential, and deeply respected. In this video, we will walk through the scientific method step by step and examine why it is critical to adhere to the protocol in full. Stick around to the end, because the way this all ties together is something you won't want to miss. First off, let's be clear about this. Science is not a set of conclusions. It is not a belief system. Science is a method, a way of investigating reality. It requires observation, hypothesis, testing, revision, and conclusion based on evidence. But modern discourse often forgets something fundamental. Science does not get to decide in advance which kinds of answers are allowed. Once you predetermine the outcome, once you forbid certain explanations, you no longer have science. You have an ideology wearing a lab coat. So here's how it works. 1. Observation. Observation is the starting point. It's where we simply notice reality. The sky expands. Life is encoded in DNA. The universe appears fine-tuned for life. Consciousness exists. These are raw data points. They don't come labeled natural or supernatural. They just are. Where worldview sneaks in, if a scientist begins with the assumption, no matter what I observe, the explanation must be 100% natural, they've already filtered reality before doing a single experiment. Science does not begin with theories, it begins with reality. A universe with a beginning, laws that don't have to exist but do, DNA packed with coded information, minds that can analyze the universe. These observations belong to no religion and to no ideology. They're simply the world as it is. The problem arises when we dictate what the data is allowed to mean before we even study it. Observation is neutral. Interpretation is not. And because interpretation depends on presuppositions, the worldview of the scientist becomes critical information when deciding to accept their conclusions. It is no coincidence that many research studies conveniently conclude in favor of their sponsors. 2. Hypothesis, proposing possible explanations. A hypothesis should be free, imaginative, and explanatory. But if certain answers are forbidden from the start, if design, intention, or a creator are ruled out beforehand, then hypotheses are not truly free. The scientist is no longer asking what best explains the data. Instead, they're asking, what natural explanation can I invent, even if the evidence points elsewhere? This is where science begins to drift from discovery toward the propagation of ideologies. Is it really unreasonable to expect a scientist studying DNA to say something like, our findings reveal levels of complexity for which no known natural mechanism currently provides an adequate explanation? We cannot say the cause is supernatural because we cannot quantify that, but at present, no natural process explains this phenomenon. Future research may or may not uncover a natural cause, but at this moment, we have none. Wouldn't that be honest? Why rule out the supernatural when natural processes clearly fall short to explain? This is what happens when ideology supersedes truth. Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't you think this approach is better? 3. Testing and experiment, where hypotheses meet reality. Experimentation is where we test whether our hypothesis aligns with reality. We run controlled experiments. We compare predictions to real-world data. We eliminate what doesn't work. This is science at its strongest, when it allows reality to push back. When naturalistic explanations fail, instead of reconsidering the framework, some will endlessly patch the theory to keep the conclusion natural at all costs. The ridiculous notion of a multiverse is a clear example of this. Testing is supposed to let reality speak, but if we've already ruled out certain explanations, like design or a creator, then we are not truly listening. We will always choose an unlikely natural explanation over a reasonable non-natural one, not because of evidence, but because of the rules we invented beforehand. That's not nature speaking, that's our worldview speaking over her. Testing only works when we are willing to follow the results, even when they make us uncomfortable. 4. Analysis and revision, when theories must change. After testing, we analyze the results, ask, does this support or contradict my hypothesis, revise or abandon the hypothesis as needed. This is where humility enters science. Where worldview blocks humility, when a naturalistic hypothesis fails, scientists have two options. The humble scientist, maybe my hypothesis or even my underlying assumptions is wrong. The dogmatic materialist, the explanation must be natural. If this natural theory fails, I'll simply invent another natural one, but I will never question naturalism itself. At the revision stage is where science is supposed to say, I was wrong. Unless, of course, you're not allowed to question your deepest assumptions. If naturalism is untouchable, then the only thing permitted to be wrong is the current natural explanation, never the belief that the explanation must be natural. At that point, naturalism is not the conclusion of science, it is the dogma that science is forced to protect. Christian theism does not fear revision, because truth belongs to God. Whatever is true is His. 5. Conclusion and theory building, telling the story of reality. When enough hypotheses are supported, we form theories, like the theory of gravity, germ theory. A theory is not a guess, it is a structured explanation that organizes data. Where worldview writes the script, two scientists can examine the same evidence and tell completely different stories. Naturalistic story. The universe created itself from nothing. Life arose from blind physical processes. Morality, consciousness, and meaning are the accidental byproducts of matter in motion. Theistic story. The universe had a beginning because it was created. Its laws and fine-tuning reflect intelligence and intention. Life bears the marks of purpose, design, and value. Same data, different lens. A closed naturalism says, no matter what, only natural explanations are allowed. A truly open science says, let the best explanation win, even if it points to an author. At theory stage, naturalism often transforms science from discovery into confirmation of a worldview. 6. Peer review and paradigms, the social side of science. Science is done in communities, not in isolation. Papers are peer-reviewed. Journals decide what is respectable. Funding agencies decide what is worth studying. Communicators tell the public what science says. Where worldview becomes enforcement. If strict naturalism dominates, supernatural-friendly explanations are dismissed as unscientific by definition. Design arguments are labeled religious, even when using standard inference to the best explanation reasoning. Researchers who challenge naturalism risk their careers, reputations, and funding. Science is done by humans, humans with grants, reputations, and social pressures. When naturalism rules the paradigm, it doesn't stay in the background, it polices the boundaries. You may question the details within the story, but you may not question the story itself. At that point, science isn't merely influenced by atheism, it is guarded by it. From start to finish, the scientific method is powerful. From observation to hypothesis, from testing to revision, from theory to application. But at every stage, one question must be asked.
Are we open to whatever is true, or only to truths that fit naturalism? If we tell the universe in advance you're not allowed to point beyond matter, then we have turned science from a search for truth into a tool for enforcing a worldview. That is how atheism hijacked science, not by performing better experiments, but by rewriting the rules of what explanations are allowed. In the next video, we will discuss the hidden danger of this hostile takeover. So subscribe to get the next installment and help this channel grow by leaving a comment telling us what you think about the scientific protocol and how ideology affects it.